What's up, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with Tesla, SPY, and a couple of other tickers. And break down what's happening with the overall market moving forward as we have big news that just came out, not to mention some new news involving Tesla. But let me just mention that I am not a financial planner. Make sure you take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. Anyways, Tesla's on a bit of a downtrend right now. As you guys can see, it's making lower highs and lower lows. And we also closed below our 4-hour 200 EMA. So for the week, we need to see Tesla reclaim 215 for this thing to turn back up. We have to reclaim this. If we don't do it, there's going to be a risk of even more downside. And Tesla could be dropping all the way down towards 200 flats, if not below that. So you want to be very, very careful. I do see a risk of more downside on the chart. We're kind of losing the lows from a little bit over a week ago, and we're continuing to fall on this downtrend pattern. So we are favoring the downside, in my personal opinion. Looking at the daily chart of Tesla, we're still looking kind of weak on the daily. We're barely holding this 205 support. If that fails, this will continue to dip. We're still looking bearish overall. So you want to be very careful with this. We have previous resistance becoming support around 198 to 200 if 205 fails. That's very close to where the low was of the day. Tesla is just barely holding on to support. Now, to rebound, we need to reclaim our 50 EMA as well, very close to 215. We got to reclaim that in order for Tesla to try to bounce. Otherwise, we're still looking bearish. And the trend is still bearish, so it's still favoring the downside. Anyways, I want to talk about something else for the markets. SPY is also down quite a bit. So is the QQQ. And the question is, why is this happening? Can we get a rebound? What are some levels to watch for? On SPY, you want to see this thing reclaim 536. If we reclaim that for the week, we could push to fill this gap. I mean, there could be a counter trend move. If we lose 528, I think we're easily going to be dipping down to much lower levels. There's going to be a much bigger rug pull, and we'll be entering the lower 520s, if not even the lower 500s, for a much bigger drop if we lose that key support. There's a slanted head and shoulders like structure on SPY and also on the QQQ, so the charts still favor the downside looking at the trends. But it really depends on if we can reclaim levels and also what kind of news comes out. So we have a lot of stuff that's going on. Why is the market dipping? There's many reasons. One of them is the fact that today was Friday. In the morning, we had some very, very important news. The unemployment rate came out at 4.3%. That's well above expectations. And then payrolls from non-farm, government, and manufacturing payrolls were all below expectations. So the employment sector is showing weakness, unemployment is going up, and we're entering more and more phases that are pointing us towards a recession. So the real-time SAM indicator has come out. This is a very, very important recessionary indicator. This is now showing that we are entering a recession. I'm seeing that all over the place. All these different indicators are kind of showing that a recession is coming. We're nearing one. That's a little bit concerning. Now, can I truly say that we're officially in one? I can't say that for sure. This doesn't guarantee it, but it's one indicator that's showing that we're getting, we're entering a recession essentially. So that's a little bit concerning. That's why we saw the Dow down 600 points. Nasdaq enters corrective territory. And if you look at the way jobs are looking, a lot of people are just getting unemployed right now. A lot of businesses are struggling more than before. And if you look at earnings, even earnings are kind of showing it. Earnings are not as strong as what they were like, during the last quarter, even the quarter before that. Tesla saw a big dip in earnings after earnings came out. Amazon saw a big dip. All these other companies are not doing as well. Some of them did okay, like Meta, even like Apple did okay, but so they're kind of mixed here and there. But there were a lot of misses, if I'm going to be honest with you, especially like Amazon. So it's something that's worth noting. McDonald's saw a big dip in its earnings. The list goes on. So the market's becoming more concerned about this. Everyday Americans who have their jobs with prices going up, they're at risk. So we have to be very careful. That's part of why the market was dipping. Earnings played somewhat of a role, not to mention the current sentiment after our unemployment numbers came out. And then we also have this big news coming out involving Israel and many other countries. Israel, Iran, the US, all of them are getting involved. I'm not really a history teacher. I'm not going to go over the full details in the history of this. Remember, this goes back centuries, if not thousands of years. But I just, I just want to say that the situation is tense, and I hope that violence does not escalate. If it does escalate, this is going to be negative for the markets. You want to be very careful with this news coming out. So for the medium term, this could lead to big shifts as well. We'll have to see what other countries get involved and what happens because the threats are there, and this is a very, very serious situation. Innocent lives pay the biggest prices, and we'll just have to see how things go. The fear and greed index is also shifting. Volatility is at extreme fear as the VIX is breaking out. The put to call option positioning is at extreme fear as well. And then we also have momentum at fear approaching our 125 daily moving average for the S&P 500, with fear making up the majority of sentiment. So fear is driving into the markets. It's making up the majority of sentiment. There's also news coming out for Tesla. Attorneys for Elon Musk and Tesla's corporate directors are asking the Delaware judge to vacate her ruling, requiring the company to rescind its massive, unprecedented pay package for Elon Musk. I think that this is just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, the shareholders already approved this 2 times actually, so Musk is going to get paid. There are just some attorneys that are trying to get involved there who are trying to just kind of rescind the decisions made by the Delaware courts. So we'll see how things go, but I'm not worried about this whatsoever. Musk will get his money. The shareholders voted on it, and things are going to be fine. They're just going over the legal aspect of it right now, and I'm still confident things are going to be fine. I'm not really too worried about this. But what does seem very interesting is this news right here. Tesla is suing an EV charging accessory aimed to prevent carjacking. And this is very important. So what's going on is this. Basically, a lot of people sit inside of their cars when they're charging their vehicles, and according to reports, they're saying that this makes it easy for them to become targets of theft, for people to kind of rush into their cars and do all kinds of things. And to escape, people would have to unplug their vehicle before they can escape with their vehicle, and that puts them at risk. So there's a lot of talk about that. So companies like EV Jet Escape, excuse me, it's a very, very interesting name. They basically came up with a design that allows you to just, drive away just like that. It'll automatically separate itself from the charging connector. So you connect this to the charger when you connect this to your Tesla, and then this will automatically disconnect everything, and you can just drive away in case of emergencies. And they're saying this for people's safeties. They say that's very, very important, right? In the event of an emergency, that you could disconnect the charger from your dashboard, like usual, and you could actually just put your car basically into drive and just get away in case something happens. So Tesla's suing the company, claiming that the connector can reach dangerous temperatures, which creates its own safety risks. So in the event of over temperature conditions in the connector, the lack of over temperature protection, it leads to more safety risks, according to Tesla, and that's why they're suing the company. On top of this, some people are also saying that this is implying that Teslas could be dangerous. That is a possibility. So there was a person that commented. They said that their Tesla adapter melted with no other components, and Tesla replaced it, which is great and all, and that there was a risk of fire. On top of this, they mentioned that being trapped at a charger is a huge problem that also has other things that are going on, such as dangerous people possibly being nearby. And they're saying that Tesla needs to add an ejection option, perhaps ties to the Sentry to prevent abuse. And then they're saying that suing is not the right action, especially if the defects are there. But I do agree that if it is at risk of overheating, becoming very, very hot, and possibly causing fires, that is something Tesla could do. I don't disagree with them trying to like take legal action. What I do want to say is that Tesla needs a solution to this. Okay. So if someone's charging their Tesla, it could become a big problem if they have to get out of their car, unplug it, and then get back in to escape. If there's an emergency, sometimes people have to just drive away. So it's risky. So you want to be very, very mindful of that. You have to be very, very open minded to the possibility of what this could lead to. So I think that Tesla has to come up with a solution, maybe their own product. They have to come up with some different system that they could use for their NACS chargers and something else like that. I think that's very important. I think that this is going to be key for them because think about it. If something were to happen, if someone is charging their Tesla and all of a sudden something dangerous happens, something bad, this is going to make a lot of headlines. It's going to go all over social media. Teslas are unsafe. The media is going to go crazy. Share price may dip, and then Tesla will finally have to take action. So that's why I think that instead of waiting for a disaster, Tesla should just take action as fast as possible, just in case, because safety is a big priority. They could even come up with a product or do something like that. We'll see how things go. On top of all of this, now let's just talk about how the charts are looking. So for Tesla, we're bearish. We're looking bearish. We're approaching this 205 area. This is our 200 EMA on the daily. If we lose this, 200 is going to be coming. And then 198, that 198 to 200 area right here, this chop zone we have, that is coming next if we end up losing structure. If we hold this, we could try to rebound to 215, but we have to reclaim 215 in order for us to bounce. As of right now, there's no sign of a bounce. We're actually dropping even in the after hours just a little bit. So we still look bearish, but we'll be watching to see this next week. Don't forget, there's a lot of geopolitical news that's going on around the world. I can't say a whole lot about this yet. I'll probably give you guys an update tomorrow, but that's going to have a very, very big effect as well in the market. So we'll just have to wait and see. For SPY, it's very simple. If you could reclaim 536 on SPY, we could try to rebound. If we don't reclaim 536, Watch 528. We got to hold that. If we lose that, this could continue to fall to much lower levels, to the lower 520s. Watch and see how well this holds up. Bitcoin is looking bearish. SPY is bearish overall, by the way. For Bitcoin, we're still looking more bearish. We're continuing to fall. We're going to be looking to see if this approaches the 60,000 area and see if we get a bounce off that or not. But I do think it looks more bearish. There's a risk of more downside. That is, in my opinion, quite obvious. For Nvda, we attempted to rebound just a bit. If we could reclaim 110, look at 112. If we reclaim that, we could try to rebound. If we fail to do so, watch the support at 104, then eventually 100. If we lose that, we're going to be looking for a big drop. Nvidia has this big gap to fill all the way down to 95. So if we lose 100, we're easily filling that gap. So you want to be very careful with Nvidia. The trend is still more bearish. But that depends on the levels and such. So we'll just have to wait and see. But look at the trend. We're bearish. We had this high here, came down, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. We're looking bearish on Nvidia overall. If we lose 100, that's going to be confirmation of more downside. So watch and see. For the QQQ, we're more bearish. The reason for that is because when you look at the 4-hour, check this out, guys. We're continuing to fall as I speak. We're still dipping. There's no sign of much of a bounce. We touched 444 today only to get a little bought back up, and then we continue to fall. So 444 is key support. If we lose that, there's going to be a bigger drop. If we hold and we break past 452, we could bounce for 456 plus. But this chart's favoring downside as we have a head and shoulders. Still looks more bearish. I'm going to go over just like 5 or 6 more, guys, because the weekend is coming up. I'm not going to take too long. Aapl has a head and shoulders like structure. One concern for Aapl is that we tried to bounce to 225 only to reject, and we failed. We failed to break 225. Now we're coming back down. We're only up 0.6%. Not that good. We're going to likely range trade between 216 and 222. We're going to likely be stuck for some time. We'll see if we get a break to the downside or not. With the IWM, we lost our 200 EMA. Not a good sign. We got to reclaim 210. If we don't reclaim 210, watch 207. If that fails us, this imbalance will take us down to 203. The chart looks more bearish, but we'll see if we reclaim 210 or not, depending on the news. We still look more bearish. Coinbase is more bearish. We have a double top like structure. Big rejection right over here. This is favoring. We need to reclaim this 210 area. If we don't reclaim 210, we could be dipping all the way down towards 200 and 198. And if that fails us, we're coming down to like 192. So watch out, guys. We're looking more bearish on coin. We'll see if we reclaim 210 or not. Amazon's more bearish looking, but it dropped really hard, and there are buyers trying to defend it around this 166 area. If we reclaim 166, we could try to bounce. We need to reclaim 170 to try to bounce, excuse me. If we break 170, we're going back up towards 172. If we failed 166, we're going to be dipping all the way down to 165. There is no sign of a bounce whatsoever, so watch and see how well we hold up, but it might try to consolidate for a bit. Meta looks like it's going to be dipping down towards, in my opinion, 482. If we lose that, look for a rug pull all the way down to the 470s, lower 470s too. If we hold 482, we could try to rebound, but we're looking a little bit more bearish. Microsoft is no different. We're on a bit of a downtrend. We could dip lower all the way down towards 404, then 400. If we rebound, we have to try to break back above 415. We're on a bit of a downtrend. This favors downsides. Just be careful on the 4-hour time frame. Microsoft is still looking more bearish. Could be approaching the lower 400s. For Google, we have a nice kind of like head and shoulders like structure. We're continuing to fall. If we lose 166, we'll be looking for a dip all the way down towards 164 or lower. We have to reclaim 171 to turn back up. Right now, the trend is bearish. We're looking bearish. We're continuing to fall. We got a big rejection. We favor downside. I am seeing buyers trying to defend 166, so we might shuffle for a bit, but there is still that risk of downside. If we reclaim 171, we could rebound a little bit more, but we still look more bearish. The last thing I'm going to mention for this video, I'm going to make this video kind of short, by the way, because of the fact that it's a Friday. The VIX is breaking out. We were up 25%. It might dip a little bit more, but then we could continue higher. This is once again favoring the downside. So the market's looking more bearish, guys. We'll have to see how things end up going, at least moving forward. Please keep that in the back of your minds. I did have some big news about Tesla to talk about maybe later on, but that's what we're seeing for now, and we'll see how things go. I'll be back tomorrow for another update video for the markets and Tesla. We'll see what happens with the geopolitical situation. That's why I'm going to just hold off on kind of pre-recording anything and just make a video for tomorrow. So until then, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Please have a great day. Enjoy your Friday, and I'll see you guys very soon on the next one. Thank you for listening, and peace out.